Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you are having an amazing day. Let's get right into the stories. The first one is an entitled people story. The McCready family farm has been my whole life ever since I was just a young boy. My great-granddaddy founded this place way back in 1912, carved it out of raw prairie with nothing but his bare, calloused hands and a whole lot of grit. 200 acres of good Iowa farmland, nurtured by generations of McCreadys ever since. My daddy worked it, his daddy before him, and now it's my turn. I've spent every day of my 57 years on this soil, watching the seasons change as surely as the sun rises and sets. When I was just a tyke, I'd follow my Grandpa Amos around like a shadow. He'd let me ride along while he plowed and planted, explaining the cycles of life unfolding in the dirt. I'd help Grandma Lily collect eggs from the chicken coop, giggling as the birds pecked curiously at my small fingers. At night, I'd fall asleep in my creaky metal bed listening to the soft lowing of the dairy cows Dad kept back then. The farm seeped into my bones, becoming part of me. My wife Betty and I raised our 3 kids here too, taught them the same enduring values that Grandpa Amos passed on to me. The dignity of a hard day's work, the importance of stewardship, leaving the land better than you found it, and most of all, fierce loyalty to family. I saw those lessons take root as surely as the corn in our south field. Even after the kids moved away, Betty and I stayed on. We scaled back the dairy operation, switched mostly to corn and soybeans now, and we kept a small flock of chickens for meat and eggs. It was a simple, quiet life, just the 2 of us rattling around in the old farmhouse enjoying the fruits of our labor. That all started changing a few years ago when Culver's Creek, the big suburban development, went in right along our property line. I can't say I was thrilled to see all those cookie-cutter houses springing up on old Patterson land just downhill from us, but Betty convinced me it was progress, and we should be neighborly. Initially, the families moving into Culver's Creek didn't cause us any grief. I'd exchange pleasant waves with minivans full of kids as I drove the tractor down the rural route. Let folks hike the trails along the creek that wound through our back pastures. No sense being ornery just for the sake of it. Live and let live. But then that damned homeowners association went and elected Tom Wilson president. Right from the get-go, I could tell he was bad news. Pushy and arrogant. One of those types who always think they know best. I took an instant dislike to him, and the feeling was mutual. The first hint of trouble came when Tom approached me one Sunday after church, flashing his pearly white politician's smile. He wanted to discuss building a road through our south pasture to connect the development directly to the highway. Claimed it would reduce traffic congestion and boost property values. A win-win, he said. Not gonna happen, I told him bluntly. Our farm wasn't going to be carved up for his convenience. Tom's smile evaporated. He turned red and started blustering about eminent domain lawsuits, taking what he wanted no matter what I said. I stood my ground and repeated the only answer he was going to get. No. I hoped that would be the end of it. But Tom Wilson wasn't a man accustomed to taking no for an answer. The following Monday morning, I awoke before dawn to the rumble of heavy machinery outside. Peering out the window, I saw bulldozers plowing a road right through our south pasture. That rat Wilson had sent work crews in while we slept to try forcing the issue. If I wasn't so enraged, I would have been impressed by the audacity. I threw on my boots and stormed outside, yelling for them to stop. But the foreman just glanced my way and kept right on digging. Then up roared Tom Wilson in his shiny black SUV. He strolled over with that infuriating grin, smug as could be. "Morning, neighbor. Just a little road work for the public good. Don't worry yourself about it." I pointed to the no trespassing signs and demanded he halt the construction immediately. "You're wasting your breath," Tom snorted. "This is happening one way or another. I'm not going to let one stubborn old-timer like you stand in the way of progress." Before I could explode, Betty came running out and put a calming hand on my shoulder. She'd already called our lawyer, she said. I needed to stand firm but avoid anything rash. With effort, I swallowed my anger and nodded. "Mark my words, Wilson," I said coldly. "This ain't over." I meant what I said. First thing the next morning, I drove my Caterpillar out to the half-finished road, and I spent the next 2 hours slowly, methodically using the backhoe to dig trenches across the entire thing, rendering it totally impassable. Just try and use this road now, you snake, I thought with grim satisfaction. Another flashy black SUV came tearing up our driveway that afternoon. Wilson exploded out of it, purple with rage. "What the hell did you do?" he screamed, gesturing to the ruined road. "Do you have any idea what this is going to cost me, you senile old fart? I'll sue you into bankruptcy for this." You're finished, McCready. I didn't flinch. I told you yesterday, and I'm telling you now, that's my land. I'll do with it as I please. There won't be any road through here without my say-so, and in case I wasn't clear before, the answer is no. Wilson was apoplectic now. His hand disappeared inside his suit jacket and re-emerged clutching a small pistol. Before I could react, he pressed the muzzle hard beneath my chin. You listen to me, you worthless piece of trash, he hissed through clenched teeth. Either those trenches get filled back in and this road gets finished, or I'll splatter your idiot brains all over this field right now. I forced myself to stay calm, staring back into his hate-filled eyes. Go ahead then, but if you do, you'll spend the rest of your life in prison, and this land will still never belong to you. For a long, terrible moment, I thought he might actually pull the trigger, but finally Wilson's shoulders sagged, and he let the gun drop to his side. He knew I was right. This isn't over, old man, he muttered sullenly. You'll pay for this. I watched him passively as he climbed into his SUV and sped away. My hands didn't start shaking until he was out of sight. Word got around quick about the confrontation. The sheriff paid me a visit that evening, took my statement. They picked up Wilson a few hours later and hit him with assault, trespassing, and weapons charges. Last I heard, he was looking at 5 years minimum. As for me, I took satisfaction in watching the county road crew rip up and remove every bit of Wilson's pathetic little road. Betty and I celebrated with a glass of sweet tea on the front porch that night. Tomorrow would bring a new set of challenges, as it always had. But tonight justice had been served, and our precious family land was safe once more. The next one is a pro-revenge story. So Mary started working for a college 5 years ago as an administrative assistant. She was given odd and end tasks, one of which was writing up the school handbook. She noted in the handbook that staff were required to take time for professional development. After some years and a few promotions, she lands a manager position in the department and spearheads an initiative to have all staff under her have approved time to attend professional development conferences. Karen always rejected this idea, but Mary decided one day to go to Karen's boss. We will call him Bob. Bob is great. Once Mary has enough weight in the college, she went around Karen and got Bob to approve conferences for everyone in the department. For the next year or so, everyone got to choose any conference around the continental USA to attend on the company's dime. Everyone would come back with notes taken at every session attended, attached with a conference itinerary, and given to their direct superior as proof of attendance. The employee would also present key points learned from their conference at a weekly departmental meeting. It was a pretty simple morale-boosting opportunity, until someone had to abuse it. Karen had been bragging to other department directors as well as to Mary about swimming with dolphins during her recent travel to a conference. Mary didn't think much of it, as usually there was sometimes a free morning or afternoon to do as you please at these conferences. My wife told me this during our nightly pillow talk, and having been raised in Orlando, where Karen decided to attend a conference, my head popped up and I asked, "Where?" Mary replied with a well-known location run by a well-known company with a whale for a logo. I quickly replied, "They close at 5:30. When did Karen have time for this?" Mary, who had access to Karen's itinerary, dropped her jaw when she realized the conference Karen attended did not have free time during the business hours of the dolphin swimming experience. Mary went into an enraged clerical fury as she pulled up Karen's full travel itinerary for flight, hotel, conference, and other reimbursements. The school does most departmental work online, and therefore the school's server can be accessed remotely from secured or approved devices like Mary's phone. She also checked the website where Karen went swimming to confirm the hours of operation. According to the record submitted, there was no way Karen had time to swim with dolphins during the experience's normal business hours without missing part of this conference. According to Karen's itinerary, she was supposed to have attended all sessions. Mary worked hard to have the privilege to travel the country to attend conferences, and Karen just messed it all up. Mary eventually wrote all of this up, attached the itinerary documents, attached photos of the encounter, and apparently from other theme parks that Karen had neglected to mention, from social media, attached the hours of operation, and sent all of this to Bob. Mary texted me about an hour after she got to work the next day, saying Bob was livid. He was currently in the process of questioning everyone Karen had bragged to see if the stories all matched up. A few days later, Karen was fired from the company for only attending one session of the 3-day conference. lying about her filed report, using company funds for travel, hotel, and food to go play at theme parks, and for submitting a time card to get paid while doing all of that. Although Mary's name was anonymous throughout all of this, Karen seemed to blame Mary anyways. Karen sent mean and dark texts to Mary several times until the school could send a cease and desist. Worse of all, I guess Karen's husband was a deadbeat. So not only did Karen have to trade in her massive SUV for a smaller vehicle, she had also just signed on a new house only days before she was fired and now had no income to support the said home. I'm not completely cynical, people shouldn't be homeless, but Karen had also taken credit for a lot of Mary's work, made Mary do Karen's workload while Karen went AFK, and many other instances of foul play I can't remember because there's so much pillow talk. Needless to say, Karen reaped what she sowed. The next one is a petty revenge story. On a day I was off work, I was craving a sandwich at lunchtime on a hot day. I traveled to the nearest subway and got in line. As it was noontime, there were quite a few people in line, and as many places they seemed understaffed. I get that everyone is doing the best they can. The young teenage girl was the only one making sandwiches while a manager was ringing up the orders when not helping with condiments. So, while waiting in line at Subway with about 6 others, I was behind a group of 3 old ladies, the Karens of this story. While not the spitting image of most Karens, you could tell from how they talked with each other they were the kind of women with resting bitch faces. So it came time to have their sandwiches made, and of course every one of them wanted a very custom sandwich. This meat, that cheese, is a little too much. I want it toasted more. That is too much. I want to switch the bread. On and on, it was annoying as the girl tried to keep up but was getting frustrated and stressed. Then the manager stepped over, trying to help, but with these women, they were not happy with anything. After 15 minutes of making each of these ladies sandwiches, it finally came time to pay. Down to the register they went as my meatball sub was quickly made and passed down. I am plain bread, meat, and sauce, a little ranch, so I waited behind them. The manager rang up the old ladies, and when the total came out to around $30, they went off again. I'm not saying that they started to squeal. We waited forever to be served, and then you two couldn't even make a sandwich. We want it free, they whined. I was fed up with it, and after it continued for a few minutes, I stepped up and said I'd take the sandwiches and add them to mine. The old ladies grinned and thought they had won. I paid for the 4 sandwiches now and added my drink and chips. After my card was approved and I was handed my receipt, I picked up my newly purchased sandwiches and got my drink. As I started leaving, the old ladies went to sit at a table. After getting my drink, I headed to the door to leave with my food in hand. Excuse me, you still have our food. Are you not going to bring it to us? One of them held up the receipt. Nope, I paid my money for my food and will take them back to work, I replied as I headed to the door. This got the old ladies to get up and chase me out the door, which I didn't mind. The staff had enough of them, and I can take some abuse from crazies. You need to give us our food or we will call the cops and have you arrested, one of them threatened. I knew this was dumb, but as I said, nothing better to do on a day off. Please be my guest. I assure you they won't be doing anything about this, I calmly responded. One of them started to pull out a phone and call while the others began telling me how I must love stealing from old ladies and how they knew this person or that person and I would be in jail for a long time. Well, they called. I stood there not saying a word, which is hard to do when being belittled. But I had the store crowd watching by this point. Soon enough, a few units pulled in, and as they got out, a look of confusion crossed their faces. Officer, are you the guy they called about because you matched the description? Me. Yeah, I am who they called on. Officer. You stole their sandwiches and demanded money from them. Me. Well, look into it. Ask the clerk and manager who paid for the sandwiches, and look at this receipt. One officer walked into the store, spoke with the staff, and watched the video while the other listened to these women insinuate that I took the food from them. The shock was priceless once the other officer came out and confirmed I paid for them, and the store also wanted the 3 of them trespassed for causing a disturbance. I was released to leave, but decided to go back in and eat. The 3 women were banned and left with an even more sour look, and the manager brought over a cookie telling me it was on her. The next one is a malicious compliance story. I used to work at Sonic as a car hop. I usually worked from 4 or 5 until closing. One day, I was cleaning up all the drinks the day shift left behind, and I found a can of Monster. I grabbed it and walked around asking everybody who was working. The manager, Robert as usual, was talking to his girlfriend on the phone, based on the conversation content. When I asked if it was his, he looked right at me, shook his head, and turned away without saying anything. After I finished asking everybody else, I dumped it out and threw it away. 30 to 45 minutes later, he came up front and went to throw away his trash. He saw it in the trash. He was livid. He started screaming, grabbed it out of the trash, and shoved it in people's faces, asking if they threw it away. I told him they didn't. I did. He cornered me against the wall and screamed in my face that I was going to leave and buy him a new one. 2 things. The monster can was probably half full, if that. And I hate being yelled at. Besides, I had asked him. We got into this huge fight about it, with him demanding that I replace it and me telling him to duck off. This went on for 2 hours. It was slow because it was winter, so he sent everybody else home. He was cooking. Finally, he told me I was either going to buy a new one or go home. It was 7 o'clock at this point, and we closed at midnight. I grabbed my stuff and went to clock out. He said if I didn't go get him a new drink, I was fired. I said, "Okay, see you never." Not even 5 minutes after I left, the GM, Jeremy, called me asking why I left. So I told him what happened. He said the other manager couldn't fire me, as only the GM had that authority, and asked me to go back and finish the shift. I told him I couldn't do that with Robert yelling in my face like that and that I would return the next day. So Robert was stuck for the rest of the night. Nobody else, not even Jeremy, would come in. He had to cook and run orders by himself for 5 hours. It pissed off a lot of customers. When I went in the next night, he asked why I was back since he had fired me, and it was a joy to tell him he couldn't do that. He held a grudge for 3 whole months. The next one is an entitled People Story. I'm 29 and I had been dealing with this for some time, but recently it became ridiculous. My grandmother is the most special person I ever knew. And by special, I mean one of the most frustrating, entitled, narcissistic, condescending idiots on earth. She believes that she is the matriarch of the family, the highest authority that we all must obey. And for that, she has done a lot of things to the whole family over the years. And recently I became her main objective. A couple of months ago, she organized a family meeting at her house, thinking it was just a family meal. We all went, and when everyone was there, she revealed her true intentions. It was a trap. Apparently, someone told my grandmother that I was dating a girl, my girlfriend, and basically, she exposed me to the entire family. At that moment, I hadn't even told my parents about it yet. The following 30 minutes were a non-stop humiliation in front of my entire family, with her saying how much of a failure I was, a shame to the family, a sinner, and how embarrassed she was that all her church friends knew I was a shameless pervert. When I couldn't take her crap anymore, I got up from my chair, only to be slapped in the face by her for disrespecting her. After seeing that, the rest of the family finally intervened, pulling her away before she tried to pull my hair. In the following weeks, she was nothing more than a constant headache, endless calls and text messages telling me such beautiful things as how I will burn for my sins, that I was a disgrace, that I should stop fooling around and correct my life. She even lectured my parents, demanding that they correct me, make me quit my job and find a husband because that was the right thing to do and what I should be doing. Also, she took every chance she got to say how evil and selfish I was for ruining her good image. Last Saturday, she outdid herself. While I was in my apartment, there was a knock on the door, and when I opened it, I saw that it was her. By that point, I was no longer trying to hide my displeasure from her, and I just said, "Ah, it's you. What do you want?" Without being invited to come in, she went into my house, began to look around the place with an obvious gesture of disgust and disapproval on her face, and then turned to look at me with that look of superiority, as if she were doing me a favor just by being there. She told me that she had already given me more than enough time to reconsider and correct my life, so she was there so that I could apologize to her. I just laughed sarcastically, and told her that she was crazy and that she could go now. She then started lecturing me with the same speech again, but I didn't take it. I interrupted her and let out all the things I've wanted to tell her for a long time. That she was a stupid old witch, that she was not an authority figure to anyone, that her presence alone ruins our day, that nobody can stand her, that she is such a horrible and suffocating grandmother and mother, that she should not find it strange that none of her children love her or visit her unless she forces them to. I knew I had hurt her by the way she tensed her face and how she tried to hide the tears in her eyes. It was then that she said, "Enough. I can see that you don't understand the good way, so I will have to correct you in the old way. Give me the keys to this place. You will return to your parents, and you will be grounded until you learn to obey and do what I ordered." I still had the keys in my hand from when I opened the door, to which she extended her hand, as if waiting for me to give them to her. I laughed. I laughed out loud. This was too ridiculous that I couldn't take it seriously, and apparently that made her so mad that she lunged at me, trying to grab my keys. We struggled, there were screams, things falling out of place. The damn witch even got to the point of digging her nails into my arms and biting my hands. The scandal was such that a couple of neighbors went out to see what was going on, and when my grandmother saw them, she started shouting that I was a thief and was trying to rob her house. Obviously, they didn't believe her. They were my neighbors, they knew me. They separated her from me, and when she saw that they did not believe her and that I would not obey her, she threatened me with, "Your parents will know about this," and left. Since then, she has been telling everyone how I insulted her and violently attacked her. We all know her. We all know she is a liar. She just makes everyone's lives harder. Thank you for watching. I would really appreciate it if you could like the video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Okay, this actually turned out decent. Well, you can't handle it, Bill? I don't know if they're fertilized. I don't like all that butter, though. Bro, how am I supposed to fucking... How am I supposed to... How am I supposed to flip that? It's like a moon. Oh. Wow, so I guess I was not putting enough butter on it. Or oil. That seems to be the trick. Yeah, that one was good. Wait, yeah, I think the whole trick this whole time was oil. Okay, this is actually very good. I'm not eating this part. Let it cook longer. Both of them are just that one. Oh, fuck. This is quinoa. Dude, I was just putting it to the side. I didn't have a plate nader. Why did I flip it? What do you mean? We'll never know the awesomeness. No, I don't want bacon grease. I'm just letting this fucking cook a little bit more. I feel like it's not as browned as I wanted it. Everyone, gosh, you guys are some backseaters when it comes to cooking. I don't know. This is the only egg that I know how to cook. I don't really know how to do. I just learned how to fucking do this like a few months ago. Well, you shouldn't be stressed anymore because it's over with. No one should be stressed. It's all good. I do like scrambled. Fried eggs over meat. I like fried eggs over medium are the best. Yeah. Jeez Louise. Jeez Louise. Oh, fuck. There we go. Yeah, let me hear the advice, Nader. Let me hear the advice. What is it? What is it now? Let's hear it. I'm ready. On the counter, throw away your shells. On the counter is not good. I know. I usually toss them, but I was under a lot of pressure with everyone in here. Hey, Polly. Alrighty. I'm watching the bear right now. Yeah, no, I do not thrive under pressure. Alright, I'm adding some butter. That's probably a lot of butter, but for the quinoa, actually let me put these. Oh no, it's leaking. I want the quinoa as the base. That's why I'm doing that. Oh, it's a lot of quinoa. I'm dead, MTV. Okay, some butter on that. And then, dude, Bill needs some blood pressure medication when he watches me bake and cook. Like, this shit looks exquisite. This looks like some Michelin star shit right here. Here we go. Michelin star. And then turn that shit off. Some salt, and we are. Oh my god, it sounds like a police chase. We're good. Thanks, Dinosaur Chef. Asparagus. Shut up. Let me turn this bright ass light down. Alrighty. Oh yeah, he was just in here. TV actually, he made me cry the other night in a good way, but he decided to quit his job and travel the world for the next 2 months. And he said that I inspired him and it made me cry. Oh, I'm sober, I don't drink. Wait, so what was that thing in the egg again? I've never seen that. I genuinely just want to know. No, the dot. Nader? Okay, but it's fine to eat. Okay. Well, then whatever. Oh. No chaos. Don't say that. Oh, it's what hold. Same necklace. What is that, chaos? Oh. Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't catch that. Of course I know. Dude, I wasn't thinking. I'm like overstimulated from everyone yelling at me about my egg.